I mentioned the Sefer before, the Sefer by Rebbe Tzvila Levushi Oz. And on Rosh Hashanah I had the great privilege to learn from the Sefer, to get inspired by it, and it was very, very, with a very great impression on my Rosh Hashanah tefillas. I want to share with you a couple of ideas from the Sefer. First of all, in Maimer Lamed Ches, Rav Auerbach brings an incredible idea. It's simple, but it's incredible. And his application is very, very apropos for these days. Rav Auerbach brings from the Nefesh HaChaim. We think you're sick here in the hospital, and I saw so many sick people here over here, to people with machines, because Kohanim by a person attached to a machine with a IV drip, and people who are bandaged on their heads, people who can hardly move. And it's very inspiring to be in such settings. When we think you're sick, you daven to Hashem, hopefully it makes you better. Says the Rav Israel from the Nefesh HaChaim, this is a big thing. We don't daven if we're sick to get better. We don't daven if we have parnasa problems to get more money. We don't daven if we have shalom bayis problems to have shalom. We don't daven if we have chinuch problems that our kid should go straight. That's not the basis of our tefillas. Says Rav Auerbach from Nefesh HaChaim, we have to understand this. All tefillah, how can we daven? Hashem said this is the tradition. It's obviously for the best. Tefillah says in Nefesh HaChaim is because kavod shemayim. Hashem is in pain. When a Jew is suffering, parnasa, health, shalom bayis, chinuch, Hashem is suffering. Right? Imagine all of the tsaras that all of Klal Yisrael has. We put them all together, and Hashem suffers tremendously for it. Imagine how much pain Hashem is experiencing during these days. Our tefillah are to remove that pain. It's the kavod shemayim. Our own situation, we accept ourselves. We ask Hashem to remove these difficulties for kavod shemayim, for His pain. And this is very, very significant. And Rav Auerbach brings that even though this is a very high madrega, most of us, if we have parnasa problems, trick problems, chinuch problems, shalom bayis problems, we'll daven because it's hard for us. And it's very hard to daven in such situations just for kavod shemayim. But says Rav Auerbach from the Chazon Ish, during the days of Eseres and Teshuva, after we've gone to a Rosh Hashanah and Malchus, Zichronis, and Shofetz, now we're armed, as it were. We have the ammunition, we have the power to really ask Hashem to bring us to this level of tefillah where we understand that our davening is kavod shemayim. It's for Hashem's fault. It's to remove our problems, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu should have less suffering in the world. And I once heard from Mendel Weinbach, I was Zatzal, the Rosh Yeshiva, and the founder of Or Sameach Yeshiva. It was after a shiur from Rav Shlomo Brevda, and he went up to Rav Brevda, and he told him that the Gemara in Taina says that there were two jesters. There was someone who went to the shuk, and he met Eliyahu Hanavi. He said, "Who here is getting all of my blood?" He pointed to two Batchanim, two jesters, and they used to make people laugh. The Maharsha says they were mechaven asar Hashem. They had intention that when people are sad, then Hashem is sad. So they had intention that to take away the sarach. And this should be our goal in life. Everything we should do should be l'man shmoi bi'av, to make Hashem besimcha and bring more kavod shemayim and take away the sarach. This should be our goal. And that's true during the year. It's especially true during the days of Rosh Hashanah, Eseres Teshuva, Yom Kippur, and the days to follow. These days, we have to really reach inside our hearts and try to understand what's really the purpose of tefillah. Tefillah is not to get what we want. That's not the point of tefillah. Because aseh v'tzaynai k'v'tzaynai. We should make our oaths like Hashem. If Hashem wants that we should have difficulties, we should accept them. Kol ma'adav. The only points of dissension, the only point of dispute that we have with the Borei Olam is that we don't want Hashem Himself. Right? Where we accept the difficulties that it brings on us, We don't want there to be chas v'shalom, sar l'mal. We don't want to be a pagam unfortunately. So therefore we ask that the difficulties should be removed. Hashem should help us during these days that we should recognize how much pain the Shekhinah had. Imagine this. It's almost 2,000 years that Hakadosh Baruch Hu is banished from his home. And the Jewish people, millions and millions and millions of our brethren, are estranged from serving Hashem. As I said, I was at the Kusel and an Arab taxi driver drove me home. He told me that his mother was Jewish, and I wanted to tell him. I didn't have a chance. He was on the phone the whole time. You're just as Jewish as me, as everybody else in this cab. There were 4 people. Prayed in the cab. Imagine the pain that Hashem had when the Jewish neshama is trapped in a culture outside of his own, especially one which is so antithetical to the Jewish community. Our job during these days, the Eseres Teshuva, is to think about Hashem and what He's going through in the suffering. And everything should be L'man Shmo B'Ava, L'man Shmo B'Ava, L'man Shmoi, L'man Shmoi. The more we think about Hashem, the more that we'll be close to Him and will be merit Yisrael Hashem. For the upcoming year, be true servants of Hashem, do His will, and once you're a servant of Hashem, you don't have to worry. I remember Rav Shiva Shukovsky once said, if somebody called you up and said, hello, this is Rabbi Kiva Eger, I'd like you to be my Gabbai. You don't say, how much do you pay, Rabbi Kiva Eger? No. It's a schus, it's a stigma to be the Shamash of Rabbi Kiva Eger. Yeah? And if it's true about Rabbi Kiva Eger, imagine the boy Elam himself, what is mistake. We'd all have that opportunity. Hashem should help us to recognize this and appreciate it and come into these days, go through these days with the greatest simcha and the greatest closeness to Hashem, the greatest ava. B'ezrat Hashem, we should all be nechdem. Gemara Chasim Ateva, Sifrei Tzadikim Worm, Amen, Kein Teretz.